Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're going to completely transform how you look at your Databricks pipelines. If you've ever felt like your data processing is, just crawling when it really should be flying, you are in exactly the right place. We're unpacking the absolute best strategies for optimizing Spark performance directly from our source material today. Let's get into it.
So be honest with me for a second. Have you ever launched a Spark job and just sat there, watching that progress bar just agonizingly crawl for 20 minutes when you absolutely know it should be done in 2? It's literally the worst, especially when it's that crucial ETL job that kicks off at 3 a.m. but finishes so incredibly late that your entire morning SLA is suddenly on the line.
And look, the pain isn't just lost sleep, right? It hits the wallet really hard. Those tiny, seemingly ignorable performance issues, they can actually inflate your cloud compute costs by up to 30 or even 40% every single month. In Databricks, a pipeline that feels just okay can actually run 5 to 10 times faster with the right optimizations. And the best part? You don't even have to change a single line of your business logic to do it.
So what's actually causing all this pain? Well, the source calls out 4 massive culprits. First up, shuffle explosions. This is where gigabytes of data are just needlessly flying around between nodes. Second, millions of tiny files just completely clogging up your system. Third, inefficient joins that read entire tables when you really only need a tiny fraction of them. And finally, bad partitioning. All of these are a one-way ticket to long running times, unstable clusters, and that absolute nightmare of spilling to disk when your memory just taps out.
Our goal today is captured perfectly right here. We're moving away from what we call prayer-based pipelines, where you hit run, cross your fingers, and just pray the cluster survives, and we're moving over to predictable pipelines. The fix? We optimize the data, the execution, and the infrastructure stack together as one cohesive unit.
Okay, let's dive into this. Value bomb number 1, data layout.
Right off the bat, we have to talk about the tiny file problem. Spark and Databricks read data in files. If you have a million tiny files, like let's say they're 1 to 10 megabytes each, your job is literally spending more time just opening and closing those individual files than it does doing the actual work of processing your data. It's a massive, massive I/O bottleneck. The sweet spot you actually want to be aiming for, that's somewhere between 16 and 128 megabytes per file.
So how do we fix it? Databricks actually gives us this fantastic 1-2 punch using Delta Lake's built-in commands. Step 1 is optimize. This effortlessly compacts all those tiny annoying files into proper 128 megabyte to 1 gigabyte chunks. Step 2 is Zorter by, which physically clusters your data by high cardinality columns. Think things like a customer ID or a region. This makes future lookups blazingly fast.
Moving on to value bomb number 2, stopping shuffles.
We're shifting focus now to the absolute most notorious network bottleneck in all of Databricks: shuffles. They are the ultimate performance killer. A shuffle happens when Spark is forced to redistribute data across nodes, like during a standard join or an aggregation. And every single time this happens, Spark has to read data into memory, serialize it, send it over the network, deserialize it, and potentially write spill files to disk. It is an incredibly heavy overhead.
But we can completely bypass that network nightmare just by changing our join strategy. A standard sort merge join, that causes a heavy, painful shuffle. But look at the broadcast join. If you have a small dimension table, say around 100 megabytes, you can just broadcast it. This means Spark literally copies that small table directly to all the executors. The result? Zero shuffle on the dimension side. It's a huge performance leap.
Now, what if you just forget to write the broadcast command? Enter AQE, or Adaptive Query Execution. This is enabled by default in modern Databricks runtimes, and it basically watches your stages as they run. Mid-flight, it'll dynamically convert joins to broadcast if it notices one side is small. It also adjusts shuffle partitions on the fly and fixes data skew. Honestly, AQE can give you 80% of your performance gains without you writing a single extra line of code, as long as your underlying data layout is solid.
And this brilliantly illustrates value bomb number 3, smart filtering.
Let's look at how just reading less data overall completely changes the game. Because the fastest data to process is the data you never read in the first place. Step 1 here is filtering early by a specific date or region. Step 2 is column pruning, meaning you select only the exact columns you actually need. In Spark terms, this is predicate pushdown and column pruning in action. By doing this right out of the gate, far fewer rows ever make it to that dreaded shuffle stage.
A really quick note on smart caching here, because, a lot of beginners get this totally wrong. Please do not cache every single data frame.
Overcaching causes severe memory pressure, and it leaves you way less room for those necessary shuffle operations we talked about. Instead, you really want to lean on the SSD-backed Delta cache on your worker nodes over the traditional Spark in-memory cache whenever you possibly can.
Section 4. The traps. Avoiding common Spark mistakes.
Because look, even with the best intentions, it is so easy to make critical mistakes here. And the biggest myth in data engineering is this thought process of, oh, I'll just add more workers and turn on auto-scaling, and that'll make my job faster. The harsh reality? Scaling up a cluster does absolutely nothing to fix a bad data layout. If your layout is a mess and your shuffles are bad, throwing more nodes at the problem just means you're paying Databricks a premium to inefficiently move your data around. Always audit your Spark UI for shuffle read and write times before you even think about reaching for a bigger cluster.
Which brings us to the resolution, 35 minutes down to 8. When you actually apply these solutions, the results are pretty staggering. Think about an unoptimized ETL job that takes 35 to 40 minutes, spilling to disk, unstable executor timelines, just a mess. By fixing the file layout, enabling broadcast joins, and filtering early, that exact same job drops to 8 to 12 minutes. It utilizes just 1 or 2 light shuffles and runs with perfectly smooth, reliable predictability.
I really want to highlight this exact quote from our source today because it is literally the golden rule for Databricks optimization. Structure your data first, then tune your plan, then scale your infrastructure. Seriously, write that down. Put it on a sticky note on your monitor. Data layout first, query plan second, bigger cluster last.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today, but the source material goes even deeper into the exact configuration codes you'll need for auto-optimize, shuffle partition tuning, and cluster instance types. I highly encourage you to go read the full article so you can grab those specific scripts and really master these techniques for your own environment.
So I want to leave you with one final kind of provocative question to ask yourself the next time you look at your cloud bill. Is your infrastructure scaling just masking fundamental data layout flaws? Take a hard look at your pipelines today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy optimizing.